If you're planning to move from the United States to Mexico, full or part-time, you're probably wondering what to do with all that mail that shows up at your US address each day. My wife Kat and I have been living in La Paz, Mexico for 3 winters now, and we've tried a couple of things, and I finally feel good about the system that we have going right now. I'm going to share what works for us, what did not work for us, and also what I've heard works well for other folks down here. Let's start with what's working right now, then I'll go into what we used to do and why we switched to this new system. But first, a quick note about mail in Mexico. It's a crapshoot. I did some tests. On Labor Day 2022, I sent 2 letters from the United States to Mexico. One to a subscriber in Mexico City and one to my house in La Paz. 28 days later, it arrived in Mexico City, but it's been over 200 days and I still haven't gotten anything in my mailbox in La Paz. I really did not expect for it to arrive in La Paz. So it looks like if you're sending something to a major city, there's a chance it will arrive after about a month. And it works the same the opposite way too. But if you are out in the less sophisticated parts of the country, it's best to use DHL or FedEx if you need to get something through. So back to how we get our mail from the United States while we are living in Mexico. We use a virtual mailbox. There are a number of companies, but I did my research and chose Traveling Mailbox. I like their website. I felt like their fees were reasonable in terms of how many items could be scanned for the base price, and I especially like that I could pause the service. We live about 6 months in Mexico and about 6 months in Portland, Oregon, so I don't want to pay for the time I'm up in Portland. Well, I might change my mind because it's pretty convenient to just get my mail online instead of having to walk all the way to my mailbox. So the gist is that we set up forwarding with the US Postal Service to send incoming mail from Portland to our new address in South Carolina. We could have paid more for a Portland forwarding address, but my wife is cheap. But we're cheap. Then they scan the outside of the mail and it shows up in an online portal and we can tell them what to do with it. I'll go into more details in a moment. We can also provide our South Carolina address to people to make it move a bit faster. Also, we've used informed delivery from the US Postal Service for a number of years now. It's a free service that scans your mail before it's delivered. It's not perfect, but it's pretty good. You get an email each day telling you what to expect in your mailbox. But it seems like something changed in the service in this past year. It used to be that we would see all the mail coming to our Portland address before it was forwarded to our new address. But now it seems to scan it after any mail has been forwarded. In other words, we only see the mail that is actually arriving at our Portland address, mostly addressed to whoever rented our house, but also pieces that slip through the forwarding filter. I'll go more into that later in the video, but the reason I mention this change in when the post office scans is that I cannot see what is being delivered to the new address using my existing account. This will be important when I go in the what didn't work, because after this change, it really wouldn't work. So let's talk about what did not work for us. The first winter we were in Mexico, we rented out our place and we just had a tenant throw our mail into a box for us to deal with when we returned home. Well, that was the first COVID winter, so we ended up staying in Mexico much longer than anticipated, and there was a huge box when we got home, and there were some important things in that box that we should have dealt with sooner. Then came winter number 2. We decided to have our mail forwarded to my sister-in-law in Portland. You've probably seen videos with her on this channel, most likely drinking margaritas. So the mail got forwarded to her, and my intention was to follow those informed delivery emails and tell her when something important came through and ask her to open it and photograph it for us. Well, I really didn't look at those informed delivery things because it was 90% stuff that I didn't need to deal with. And I was in Mexico drinking margaritas. So some important things slipped through, mail from the district attorney and some important things from the IRS. We also learned that certified mail doesn't necessarily end up in informed delivery because it's hand processed. The IRS was not happy with us that year. And here's the change with informed delivery scanning the mail after forwarding. Right now, mail that gets forwarded doesn't get scanned. So I wouldn't be able to see what Sandra was collecting even if I was paying attention to the emails. And I couldn't set up informed delivery with Sandra's address because then I'd see all of her mail and I don't want to see what's coming for her. Sadly, I tried adding informed delivery to our traveling mailbox address and it didn't work because it's a business address. So now we are in winter number 3 and we found a good system with traveling mailbox. I'm better at checking the dashboard than I am at watching those informed delivery emails. The dashboard maintains the mail forever, not just 1 week like informed delivery dashboard. And I can do something like ask for it to be opened right on the dashboard. So here is how it works. You start by picking a plan depending on how much mail you get and how many names you want to have on the account. We actually overestimated the amount of mail we get, so I'm going to downgrade my account pretty soon. Each tier comes with an amount of free scans, one number of the scans of the envelopes, and one number of the pages inside. And on some plans, these will roll over from month to month. So let me show you how it works before I get into the weeds about things like security. So this is the logon screen, and I'm going to get in here. This is my inbox, and you can see here there's 49 pieces of stuff. I've got some folders. I could create more if I wanted to keep track of things. So each piece of mail is shown here, and there's the forwarding yellow barcode from the Postal Service, and then this is the barcode that tracks your mail in their system, in Traveling Mailbox's system. So when I see this come in, I can request action. So let me show you what these actions are. Open and scan. So this is if I say, okay, yeah, I need to see what's inside there. I need to be able to read and whatnot. I can have it forward somewhere. I can move it to a folder, just kind of sort through it. I can scan it in under 10 minutes for a $5 fee. I can scan it without any of the page counting. So, maybe if I was having Cat's Cosmo or something like that, I could scan it for a one set fee of $2.50. I like this. I can do a check deposit. So actually, the way it works with a check deposit is first you get the mail opened and scanned, and then you'll go in to the check deposit feature. Now you'll scroll through here and check off what is a check, and then click request. And then you will say which bank account that you've already set up in the system, which of those are you going to have this sent to. Choose how you'd like them to send the check. So the least expensive option seems to be $10 for FedEx Express to probably banks in the US. So select check info. Then you'll go through and add some information here. I'm not quite sure why, but it looks like the postage fee is always just shy of $10, but the processing fee is per number of items that you have inside this shipment. So the processing fee will go up by $5 per item, but the package fee, the postage fee, stays the same. So let's click deposit now and move on to the next feature. It looks like we can return it to the sender, shred it immediately, shred it and delete it from this system if it's something that's really you don't want to keep. Hold it so they will physically hold your mail. There's a little bit of a fee to do that if you want to hold it beyond 30 days. And you can mark it junk mail so that you don't get charged for that scan. But let's just say we're going to do an open and scan for this one. And you'll see it show up here that we've got that request. You can once again push this to upgrade to a faster scanning. But let me just go through something that I've already scanned. So here, this one, I think I did this yesterday, and it says open and scan is complete. So now I can click on view, and you'll see that it shows the inside, what's inside that envelope, and it would show all those pages. And you can also go through here and see the different pages up on the right-hand pane. And you can also go through and download it. Typically, when Kat gets mail that she needs to deal with, I go through, I download it, and then I email it to her because she's really not good at looking inside this system. And you can see here, once a check deposit has been done, you can track it. This is one I did yesterday, so you can see when it's going to be arriving. You can add notes and also tags. So tags are something that I like here. I can add essentially when something is for Kat and then I've already sent it to her, I'll add her name or my name once I've dealt with it. So there's a number of different ways that you can organize your mailbox here, and I really like that. And you can search through the tags or the barcode numbers and things like that if you need to get back to some older mail. As I mentioned earlier, you could actually do folders too, it looks like. So let me just go down through here. This is the address if you want to send us anything. This is the address that we use in North Carolina. So you can try to get a more custom address. I tried typing in a couple numbers here that seemed like they'd be easy to remember, but none of them were available, so I just stuck with whatever standard one that they offered, but there is some flexibility there. Forwarding, so we can set this up if we want. If there's something in here that we physically needed to forward, I think something, actually it was Kat's driver's license. We were planning on sending it to her sister, but it was not something that could be forwarded. It was marked as don't forward, so it went back to the state of Oregon. Checks, you can see here that we've got a couple different bank accounts set up, so that these are the two options when we go to deposit a check, so you can have multiple accounts in there. The post office forms, so they make it easy to file the forms with the post office to get your mail sent to you, or sent to them. Integrations, I mentioned that we have everything sent to Google Drive, but Evernote, Box, Dropbox, OneDrive, you can have things sent to there too. I think I already mentioned the virtual office where you can send a fax, send a piece of mail, and of course, you can pay them.
Someone is at the courtyard gate.
Oh, something's here for me. Let's push pause. Now is a great time to mention that you can get Amazon stuff delivered to you down in Mexico, either through amazon.com.mx for Mexico or amazon.com. So that is a possibility, getting things delivered to your home. That one's easy. A couple of things that I like up on top here is that they have an idea board. So if you have an idea of how to make this better, you can submit that and upvote, and you'll see them come through that say they're reviewing, or as you go down further, you'll see some that they've actually implemented or closed and said, hey, yeah, actually we're already doing that. So it's a great way for them to change to make the system better, is just accepting requests from their users. So I really like that. The other thing here, let me close this one out. The other thing here is that they do offer affiliates. So this, just full disclosure, Traveling Mailbox, after using it for 4 months and feeling like I really like it, I decided to become an affiliate here. So I do get a little bit of a kickback or a commission if you were to sign up using the link down below. So thank you very much for that. But just wanted to let you know, I get a lot of offers of affiliates for VPNs and stuff like that. I only will recommend things that I use myself and I really think are good. So this is one of those things, and it took me, like I said, 4 months to decide that this was worth sharing with y'all. One big concern I had was security, and I feel like Traveling Mailbox is pretty secure. A lot more secure than having a mail carrier leave my mail in an unlocked box on the street. Their facility is secure with dozens of cameras and facial recognition. Their employees are screened and background checked, and their website is secure. Because the mail is barcoded when it enters the facility, they would know if something happened. They only open your mail if you tell them to. You can actually request that your unopened mail be FedExed to your place in Mexico if you want it. The Postal Service won't forward packages and magazines and things that are marked as do not forward, like Kat's new Oregon driver's license. And I'm not sure that I'd want to pay for a Traveling Mailbox to scan all of the pages of Kat's Cosmopolitan subscription. Just kidding, she's more of a Martha Stewart girl. So now let's talk about what other folks are doing down here. There are a number of services that will physically forward your mail from the US to Mexico. Here in Baja California, typically you forward your mail to an address in San Diego. They pack it up and truck it down to a central location in your city. You can often upgrade and have them hand-delivered to your house too. This works not only for first-class mail, but you can also have magazines delivered to that address, and also FedEx and UPS. It's a little complicated if you want to have Amazon or Etsy packages forwarded down, but it is possible. Some of these services will include a photo of your mail. Postal and Baja Mail are two services that work in the Baja Peninsula. I'm sure there are similar services in other parts of Mexico. Prices start around $10 a month for basic service, but go up rapidly from there. Like if you're getting packages or heavy pieces of mail, or if you want to only have the service for 6 months per year. I know some people will split their mailbox with friends. You can usually have a few names on the account. Something to think about. And you can always have your sister-in-law collect your mail, bring it down, and trade it in for a margarita. I've got 2 more important videos for you to watch. One is here about avoiding ATM fees, and the other is about finding butter that tastes good in Mexico. Hasta luego.